Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another product review. And the product we're going to be taking a look at today is another red dot sight. And I've reviewed quite a few of these and a bunch from this company, Osight. And this is a division of Olight. Some people love that, some people don't. But this is the Osight SE, and it's a new product offering that I think addresses a concern many other people had about some of their previous generations of red dot sights, like this one here. Now, one of the things a lot of people thought was very intriguing about the Osight design is that these have a hood that can go over the sight and charge them, but the battery is internal and you can't replace it. So the question always was, what happens if that battery goes dead? What do I do? Can I send it back to the company? I really would like just to be able to replace it myself. Well, I think Osight has decided to address those people's concerns with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and unbox it. We're going to mount it to this pistol, take it to the range, see how it works, and of course go over all of its features and its specs. So here's the box the Osight SE comes in. I believe it's going to have the same functionality as the other Osights. It looks like we have a multiple reticle system and no other information on the outside of the box. Let's go ahead and open it up. We get all the information about zeroing it, and we get the sight. It is a fully enclosed red dot sight that uses the RMSc footprint. We also get a few other things here in the box. Let's go ahead and check and see what that is. I'm going to assume it's the usual stuff. We get a sight adjustment tool, an owner's manual, and all of the screws you might need to install it onto your pistol. Now, obviously absent in this box is the charging cable, because you're not going to need it because the battery is removable. It looks like it comes out from the side and it's held in by a screw. And it looks like everything else on this sight is pretty much the same thing as the Osight S. So I don't think I really need to go over all of those features and functions because it's exactly the same. We just want to make sure this is going to work and see if there's any real differences once it's mounted to the pistol. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and mount this to a SIG P365. And of course, we're going to take it to the range and see how it works. And so this is what the Osight SE looks like, all mounted up to the SIG P365. It looks just like a standard Osight S. In fact, I think all of the functions are the same. It mounted securely on to this slide with no problem. The only issue I had was when I needed to take out the battery compartment. The slot in the screw is very shallow. In fact, you'll see it's now kind of a silvery color because the tool slipped and kind of gouged it. So I did take a little bit of sandpaper to even that back out, but the screw seems to be stainless steel, so I couldn't re-blue it. I actually think they need to provide a couple more of these screws in the package in case you accidentally lose one, because that screw is very small and I can see that happening when people replace the battery. But the controls, as I said, are all the same. We have the up and down for the illumination. If you want to turn it off manually, you can simply hold both buttons. If you want to go between the reticles, which is a dot, a circle, and a dot with a circle, simply hold down the lower illumination setting. And I know that dot is not going to come through clearly on this camera, but it is very bright. We seem to have a lot of different settings. It just seems to work like the other Osight S that I have, which I do really like. And I know so many people like these fully enclosed red dots. So that's everything I know about this sight so far. So now it's time to take it to the range. So the first test we're going to do is to see how easy it is to zero. And you guys know one of the big things I look for in any red dot sight is to make sure there are click adjustments. And I gotta say the detents on these clicks are not as strong as the other ones I have reviewed. I like them to be a little bit more tactile. I always worry under recoil those are gonna move a little bit. But who knows? It's probably going to work great. So let's go to the range. Let's zero this red dot and see if we discover anything else about it that I like or don't like. And I'll come back here to the garage and tell you all about it. And so we're back from the range with the Osight SE, and what did we discover? Let's talk about the reticles first. All three of them seem to work. They're easy to select, and I find them to be very clear. There's no distortion with them at all. When it comes to the various illumination settings, there's plenty of them. In the low light situation at my range, I'm able to dim it enough where the reticle is not overpowering. And if I step outside in the bright Texas sun, I can see it clearly on the brightest settings. When it comes to its functionality, I experienced no flickering and it stayed securely mounted to the slide. Now, when I zeroed it, this is going to be the only difference I noticed between this and the original Osight S. And this is one of the things that I think is really important with any red dot optic, and that is the adjustments need to have a little bit of a click to them, just to make sure that they hold in place. And when I bring out the original Osight S, I am very happy with the feel of those detents and the clicks. But when I move to the Osight SE, it's more smooth. They're still there, they just don't seem as strong. Does that mean it's not going to hold zero? Well, no. It just doesn't give me as much confidence as the original. But we're definitely going to test for that as the range report continues. All right, so the next test I want to do is double the distance of this target now that I have this sight zeroed, and just make sure I'm still able to shoot a pretty good group. And just like before, I'm experiencing no issues. And for a very small CCW style pistol with a very small red dot, I'm happy with that group. I think the only thing about this style of red dot I'm not the biggest fan of is its size, but it is the perfect size for a subcompact pistol. But for me, I like to have a little bit more field of view. But you don't buy this red dot to have the biggest window. But for what it is, it's absolutely fantastic. All right, so speaking of the accuracy, now we're going to set up the target at 25 yards. I'm going to shoot this pistol from the bench and from a rest, and using the Osight SE, see what the best group I can get with it is. And as an average gun guy myself, I'm not going to complain about that group. I find that this sight works really well with the reticle, with the circle, and the dot at closer distances, but at 25 yards, the single dot works the best. And as you can see, if you get this zeroed in, it's going to be more than you're going to need for home defense and CCW style of carry. All right, so the last test I want to do is put a few mags through this. I want to see if it's going to hold zero under more stress. So I'm going to do 2 or 3 mag dumps with this pistol. Then I'm going to shoot it slowly once again at about 7 yards and see if I can get that same group I got at the beginning immediately after zeroing it. And putting this sight under a little bit more stress, I did not experience any flickering and it remained securely attached to the slide. And also, as you saw from that last test, it did hold zero. So my concerns about those clicks moving because they're not very strong, I don't think is founded. So it definitely seems to work. I experienced no issues with it, and its functionality seems to match the Osight S, the original. The big upgrade, of course, is this has a removable battery, which I think is the better option. When I reviewed the Osight S, I voiced my concerns saying, well, what if Osight is out of business? What if they no longer service these? What if your charger goes bad? What are you going to do? But with this, all you have to do is remove one screw, replace the battery, and you're back in business. I do think they need to provide a couple of extra battery compartment screws though, because I'm pretty sure some people are going to drop and lose them. From a functionality standpoint, this sight is awesome. So what are my final thoughts with the Osight SE? Well, this is definitely a nice upgrade from the others, and I think this is the best sight Osight has made to date. I really hope they come out with some larger versions on the RMR footprint, but that has yet to be seen. So on my star system, how would I rate the Osight SE? Well, I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 stars. It passes all of my tests with flying colors, and I think it's the perfect option for a CCW pistol that is a subcompact and uses the RMSc footprint. So tell me in the comments section below, what style optic do you prefer? Do you like the innovative charging of the original or the removable battery of the SE? So, as always, thanks for watching.